The American Christian male is the most manipulated sexual being on the planet as far as I am concerned. If you identify as Christian and you are an American male, you are the single most prolific driver of internet pornography in this country. You are the most guilt ridden human being in this country. You are the person with the most deviant sexual behaviors in this country. And who am I to say this? Nobody. I'm just a guy who has spent the last 14 years working with people who identify as porn and sex addicts. I know all your fucking secrets. I don't care whether you are living in the hood and poor as fuck, and I don't care whether you are wealthy and nobody even knows your name. Like it was like your financial advisor that reached out to me because he was spending too much money on an apartment on fucking sugar baby in Hawaii or some dumb shit like that. Those of you who identify as Christian, you're like fucked. Now, I'm gonna break this down today. But and I had all these notes I was trying to write about it, but fuck it. I'm just gonna do it off the top of my head. I'm gonna use two things. Three notes that I took from a response I was crafting for a wonderful brother who had asked me some questions about his faith and sexuality, and a simple Google search on Christian values around sex. I haven't planned this out. I'm just going to get into it. Now, here's the first thing. All of this is coming from a place of really caring for brothers who are struggling with this. I was raised as a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in a guiding hand in my life. I pray. However, I'm not a part of any organized religion and I don't believe in any dogmatic shit. Fuck dogma. I really do mean that. I have no interest in that. But it does hurt when I see good men, really, really good men, get destroyed sexually and in their relationships because of archaic and manipulative Christian values. That's what we're going to break down today. But let's first of all talk about the fucking problems, okay? The first one is that I run into men who show up and they want to control their behavior with pornography. That's easy for us. That's what we eat for breakfast. So we get a man to a point where he has control of his behavior with pornography, but you do have this sexual desire. And this sexual desire cannot be controlled in the long term by willpower. Yes, there are many mental games you can play that you can use to suppress your sexual behavior, but that which is suppressed eventually comes up as a repressed behavior. Last year and the beginning of this year, 2025 and 2026, have not been good years for Christians, and you all know that. All these people with God first in their profile claiming to be Christians are all being revealed to be hypocrites. I could have told you guys this a long time ago, but even after talking about this, I know the comments are going to be filled with people vilifying me for telling the truth. You get to a point where you're in control of your sexual behavior with pornography, but then these young single males are unable to move forward because of all the conditioned requirements from Christianity that tell them that viewing pornography, having sex outside of marriage, masturbating, looking at women in a lustful manner, all of these things are terrible sins. It has been conditioned. But that's not the big problem. There's a bigger problem. Nobody can satisfyingly answer this question for them. And I have tried to be fair for a very long time. When men come to me with this dilemma, I tell them honestly, listen, I'm not here to moralize. I'm not here to tell you what is good or bad. Please go and speak to your religious leader and come back and tell me what they have to say. And let me tell you, in every single situation for 14 years, nobody has been able to speak to a religious leader and come back to me with a satisfactory answer. They all come back guilt ridden or more confused than ever because none of these individuals can give them a clear answer. And let's be honest, in many of these cases, these individuals themselves fall into two very simple camps. Number one is they are already watching pornography, looking at other women lustfully, engaging in sexual affairs and sexual deviance, or they're actually good men, broad generalization, who are in happy, loving, committed relationships where sex is available. And they are giving advice to young Christian men about sexual behavior when they've been fucking married for 25, 30 years. And by the way, if you're a Christian man, I don't care whether I know you or not, and you've been married for like 20 years and you're going to show up in my comments and you're going to be like, let me tell you what to tell you. You need to shut the fuck up because you have not had enough sexual experience. And don't tell me, oh, my sexual experience was, yeah, before I found Christ and I found my wife, I was engaging in sex and the sex was all empty and all of this bullshit. That is not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about how can a single Christian, religious, good man, how can he manage his sexual behavior prior to marriage without being forced into a relationship before he is ready? What is good and what is bad? And don't you motherfuckers default to the Bible. Oh, well, the Bible says, shut the fuck up. It's easy for you to say that when you've been married and you have access to sex. And I already know most of you guys because most of you guys are my clients, right? There is no definitive answer that has been given. So I'm going to help you guys come up with a definitive answer to this shit. God damn, y'all are useless. Some of you are useless. Some of you Christian mentors, when y'all talk about sexual behavior, y'all are fucking useless. You say a whole bunch of nothing that only leads these men coming back to me, and they have so much conflict. Do you know what this conflict does? The conflict of a man who has worked so hard to control his sexual behavior. And now he's at a point in his life where he's like, okay, JK, what do I do next? I would love to get into a relationship, meet a nice woman, and find intimacy. He joins a program like our dating reboot program, begins that process, and then it comes time for intimacy. Bro is confused. She wants to have sex. He's going to start judging her because she wants to have sex outside of marriage. He says, let's wait. He now begins to wait because he's like, well, I need to manage my emotions. I need to manage my expectations until marriage. But I'm not sure I really want to marry this woman because I just learned how to control my behavior with pornography. Is this truly about sex or do I actually love this woman? And sometimes this takes time. And you fucking boomers and Gen Xers who married your high school sweetheart and your college sweetheart, you can't tell this guy, well, you'll know when it's right. Just put a ring on it. Just marry the girl, man. It's been about a year. It's been about 6 months. Y'all are so fucking dumb. Your advice is so fucking useless to young men today. And this is why you see these young men engaging in fucking deviant behavior. And half of you guys are weak men. Look at all the shit you see on Facebook showing men how to be fathers. Men, there's no masculinity. Grown ass millennial men and Gen X men going to another man for that man to tell them how to be a man and a father. And you guys think you have the right to, or the expertise, or the any fucking thing to guide young men. Most of you don't, not in the sexual realm. So hopefully this is getting through you guys' heads because y'all are not helping these young men. They're still watching pornography after you talk to them. Here's what the conflict is. The conflict is a man is ready to date. But at the same time, all this Christian conditioning comes up. And the reasons why men end up watching pornography are very simple. They're watching pornography to medicate stress, strong emotions, unresolved internal issues or trauma, or a lack of intimacy. And most of these men end up medicating a lack of emotional closeness to somebody of the opposite sex and unresolved issues that comes from you guys fucking religious trauma. The implication that a man is born sinful and thus he's a piece of shit that is in constant need of redemption. And then half of you guys go out there faking what it means to be saved. Do you know the number of Christian men I've worked with who are saved? I'll tell you, all of them. All of them are saved. Every single one of them is saved. And because every single one of them believes they are saved, the depth of their guilt is horrifying. But I digress. Y'all can't help them. So now they're stuck. They don't know what to do next with their relationships. So they feel bad anytime they're about to have sex with a woman. If they do have intimacy, they feel an incredible amount of guilt. They feel like they've used the woman. She enjoyed it. She had an orgasm. She had a great time. She wants to see them again. She doesn't know about being married. And now they start acting weird. Now they start acting like she's their wife. Or they start treating her like a whore because they're projecting their sinful nature and what they were told upon her. Then they start going on dates after they projected being a whore on her, and all they're doing is screening women. What are they screening for? Oh, I'm screening you to find out if you're a whore. I'm screening you to find out um, if you're on drugs. I'm screening you to find out if you're bisexual, and that's bad. I'm screening you to find out, like, they're just screening women on these dates, and the woman is sitting there with you, and she's going like, I just want this to move forward. She may not necessarily want to have sex with you, but these guys are dropping the ball because they're so busy screening in order to alleviate the deep guilt that you grown ass motherfuckers have put in them. And so they end up wasting all these opportunities. Oh, well, maybe they should find a girl from the church. What you guys those of you who are married don't seem to understand is that these men are growing up in a time where there was just that fucking, what's a trad wife who's claiming to be Christian and saving it for her virginity. There are so many instances in today's American society where women will have sex with a lot of men. I have nothing against that. That's their decision. And then they realize that men are now screening them to find out what their body count is. So they decide that the most expeditious thing to do for them when they get to an age where they want to get married or settle down is to wipe away their past and act like they're either a virgin or that they haven't had much sexual experience. But men are aware of this now, so they keep digging and trying to find out. Now the men are traumatized. They've been with a woman who claimed she was a virgin or even claimed she hadn't had sex with many people. Some of them have married women like that and found out about their past. Some of them have been cheated on or betrayed by women like that. You need to understand when you're trying to counsel and help these men that they are in a lot of pain and they live in a different time than you. So, yes, they can meet a good Christian woman, but at the same time, they don't know. And at the same time, they have strong sexual urges. And you are implying that they cannot masturbate or that they cannot watch pornography if they are saving it for marriage. You also seem to forget that a lot of these men are getting married at a much later age. If back in the day in Christianity it was expected for a man to get married in his early 20s, you need to recognize that these men were at their sexual peak back then. There was a traditional reason why you married these men off ASAP. Now you have men who are in their late 20s to their early to even mid 30s now who are still confused. What do you think their sexual behavior has been over the years? I'll tell you. They've viewed pornography. They've masturbated for years, hundreds of thousands of times. Some of them have used escorts, some of them have used prostitutes, and now many of them live in an age where they're exposed to AI pornography, transgender pornography, OnlyFans, paying for sex, and a lot of other deviant behavior. What do you expect them to do? You expect them to meet a nice Christian girl from church and then somehow just hang in there and do it right till marriage. Yes, that's what you do expect. You actually expect them to do this. Do you really think even 50%? What percentage do you think? Think 50% of Christian men who decide to come back to the church and become serious about finding men are going to do this? 10%? 5%? 1%? What do you expect? You're not going to give me an answer because you're just going to defer to faith and God and Jesus. You're not going to look at any of the statistics. Meanwhile, it's guys like me who end up dealing with these men at the end of the day because y'all don't do shit. You're just like, have faith, my brother. If you are truly saved, if you have faith, if you are seeking the right woman, if you've prayed for the right woman, it will somehow fucking magically work out. Dumb fucking shit. All of those things. Faith is important. I did not get to where I am without faith. I got here with faith. I prayed and I believed that I was led, and I still believe that I'm being led to be here today. Oh, well, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about your opinion. I'd say every other week, I'll sit down with somebody who's like, I don't get it, JK. How can you say that, oh, you believe in God, claim you believe in God, and then you cuss and you speak the way you do, and you speak in an antagonistic way towards Christians? How can you truly claim? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of that. Just judge me by my actions. Go and speak to my clients. Ask them what happened at the end of the day. I've been doing this for 14 years. I have fucking receipts. Go and Google my name. Go and find my old clients and ask them, right? This abrasive, aggressive dude, did he help you or not? What did he do for you? Did you suddenly become a heathen because you worked with him? No. I work with pastors. I work with ministers. I work with Christian men. And here's the interesting thing. Those of you who are now coming up with all your bullshit and you're pissed off at me, most of my clients, by the time they get to the maintenance stage, even if they are atheists, move towards some sort of religious understanding or move back towards their religion. I believe it is very natural when you go through the reboot process. And that's the main reason for this video, because these men are rediscovering spirituality as they begin to let go of their addictive and compulsive behaviors, as they begin to understand the faulty core beliefs that are leading to their pain. And then they run into the faulty core belief that was put upon them by religious and spiritual trauma, religious and spiritual abuse by mainly the Christian, in many cases, evangelical church in these United States. And that is what I'm pissed off about. Let's go to Google, okay? Those of you who are still with me on my rants. Christian values regarding sex center on sexual activity being a sacred gift designed exclusively for the lifelong covenantal marriage union between one man and one woman. It is seen both as a physical and a spiritual act of becoming one flesh. Key values emphasize honoring God with the body, premarital abstinence, and sexual fidelity, with sex serving purposes of procreation, unity, and pleasure. All right, let's break down these principles. The first one is marriage covenant. Sex is designed for marriage, representing a committed, covenantal relationships. I may be mispronouncing that word. I agree with this. I think that sex in a committed setting is a wonderful thing. I myself have been in a 17-year relationship. I know the value of having sex with a person and building intimacy with that person. You guys understand each other's bodies. You'll understand how to have fun together. You'll understand how to use sex to connect. It is a safe environment to explore yourself, improve, and get all the values that sex brings internally and externally. Cool with that. The body as a temple. Christians are called to glorify God with their bodies, which are considered a temple of the Holy Spirit. I have no issue with that either. I do believe you should treat your body with respect, and sexual fidelity is one of the ways you can do that instead of exposing yourself to all sorts of different people. Again, I'm not against that. Sexual purity. Abstinence before marriage and fidelity within marriage are emphasized to maintain purity. Now, I have a big problem with that. Abstinence before marriage and fidelity within marriage are emphasized to maintain purity. Abstinence before marriage. You need to understand that this sexual purity thing came at a time when men didn't have that many options. There were a lot more rules in society, and they were getting married off young. It was easy to do that. Economic times have changed. Society has changed. God has not changed. Faith has not changed. But man and their fucking dogma refuses to change. And because you refuse to adjust while still acknowledging that God has not changed, because you choose to refuse to change and adjust your man made rules, now you guys are suffering. And you are imposing suffering on others. Because let me just mention one thing I totally forgot. All the PDFs out there, most of you are Christian males. Most of you. And there are so many of you. And more and more of you every day. That's a whole different thing. Fidelity within marriage as emphasized to maintain purity. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with fidelity within marriage. I highly recommend it. But is pornography use and masturbation to fantasy about other women, is that considered fidelity? You know, the masturbation and lusting after other women is something that can be controlled. We teach something within our program called rewiring your brain to monogamy. Yes, I teach something like that. And I've successfully done that for thousands of men. However, what is the consensus on pornography? What is it? Because many of you guys have not defined it because y'all don't understand what pornography does to a person. So I do have a problem with that because that is a hidden issue that is not addressed directly in the church. Y'all are not opening up your mouth and stating what pornography is. But here's the thing with pornography. If you are to treat pornography as straight up infidelity, then you need to understand that a new player is now in the game. Because back in the day, high speed pornography did not exist. You are dealing with a new demon. How are you going to treat it? Because what I have found is that women in Christian relationships who treat pornography as straight up infidelity destroy the marriage. Yes, it is the man viewing the pornography. But because the woman views it as infidelity, she's quickly to throw everything out with the bathwater. She does not care that this pornography was in her husband's life prior to him marrying her. She does not care to understand that this is a hyper stimuli that now is beyond his control. She just treats it as him going out and having sex with another woman. That's all she treats it as. And in many cases, her ego is involved in this. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying that is what she is likely to do. Therefore, more and more Christian marriages are falling apart because of a lack of understanding and treating pornography use as the same thing as a man setting up a rendezvous with a woman and having sex with her. That's a whole different thing. That takes a whole bunch of effort. It takes no effort to walk into the bathroom, put on a pair of headphones, and jerk off to something you watch in a video for 15 to 40 minutes. Do you guys understand? Have y'all upgraded your operating system, your Christian dogmatic operating system to handle this? Because you still haven't. And those of you who are out there, I help Christian men end their pornography addiction in 90 days, y'all are just destroying men's lives and conning men. Purpose of sex. The biblical purposes of sex include procreation, unique unity between husband and wife, and as a reflection of the relationship between Christ and the church. Okay? Let me explain something to you. If you do not understand this, if you do not sit down and figure out what is the purpose of sex in my relationship with my partner, both of you are sexing, right? Both of you fucking. If both of you don't sit down and decide what is the purpose of it, it's going to bite y'all in the ass later on. When it comes to our program with rewiring your brain to monogamy, the couple is required to define what sex is for them. Because if y'all don't, that conditioning of we're only supposed to have sex for procreation anyway is going to come up. The reflection of a relationship between Christ and the church, y'all already threw that out. Your religious leaders are completely ignoring that. This is not the video for talking about the spiritual aspect of that. Because that is that relationship between Christ and the church. That was one of the core principles that was keeping Christian monogamy together. But y'all's Christian dogma has moved on to other things that have nothing to do with this prosperity, defending Christianity, your identity, and a whole bunch of stupid shit that has nothing to do with what religion is originally designed for. Religion is designed to be a conduit to the divine through faith, through fellowship, through understanding of the word, and the reinforcement of the gospel. But no, that's not what y'all are doing anymore. Y'all are doing some dumb shit that I don't even recognize. Fucking useless. Holistic view. Sexual sin is seen not just as a physical act, but as a violation of the body's sacredness with lust or mental adultery considered serious. Again, if this is not addressed, what is sexual sin? First of all, what is sin, right? Are you defining it as what it's supposed to be? Missing the mark? A reminder that we are human? A reminder that we are redeemed and that we are forgiven? A reminder of what we are capable of? Or do you view it as this horrible thing that you should self flagellate for? What is their understanding of sin? But no, y'all have started using sin as a fucking weapon to control your congregation, to judge your peers. You know, when all these scandals came out about all these Christian men and leaders, it's so interesting to observe the Christian community. Because what you'll fucking love to do more than anything, because of your deep issues that you haven't dealt with, is to take your religious leaders and put them on a fucking pedestal. You put them on a pedestal and you see them as perfect. And you're so upset. You're so heartbroken. You're so devastated when your favorite pastor and religious scholar has been found to be having an 8-year affair, when he's been found to be having sex with men, when he's been having an affair on his wife, when blah, blah, blah. That's your fault. Y'all did that to yourself. And then y'all do that in your marriage too. Y'all are all, for the most part, hypocrites. And there's nothing wrong with being a hypocrite. If only you would accept that it was a sin, and that sin is simply missing the mark. Listen, I am not free of hypocrisy. I am a former porn addict. I am not sitting here on some high horse pontificating. I do fucked up shit. I miss the mark. I know I do. And I live a life of hyper awareness so that the moment I do and I see myself heading down that direction, I fix it. And if for any dumb reason I cross a boundary, I move from the place where something is good for me to a place where that stuff is no longer good for me, which is the definition of a boundary. I must immediately fix that issue. I must stay accountable to my accountability partners. So I'm just saying, some of you might be like, who the fuck do you think you are to judge us, man? And why am I watching your video this long? That's probably the more important question you should be asking yourself. I am human. I too sin, but I too know that I am a child of God, that I am redeemed, that I am forgiven. And I never use that as an excuse for engaging in the behavior, but simultaneously, I do not beat myself up for any sin committed because it is data for me. There is remorse for what I have done. If there is no remorse, then there is a psychological issue. There's a very deep problem, but won't go into that. Violation of the body's sacredness with lust or mental adultery. How? How are you going to escape this? If you viewed pornography, you are going to have flashbacks to the pornography you viewed for a long time. If you're dealing with lust, you're still going to have these issues. Over time, it will take time for you to heal yourself, for your brain to rewire, for you to no longer wonder about these things. I often tell clients that in my relationship, neither I nor my partner try to pretend that we do not observe attractive people. If you are pretending as a married man or as a married woman that you do not perceive attractive people, you're full of shit. I can be walking down a street and there's a highly attractive woman who is striking in nature who catches my eye. Our rule, and this is in porn reboots, the rule is very simple. If your eye naturally catches this person, a biological function, I don't care whether it's their pretty face, their flowing hair, the size of their breasts, the curve, their butt, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Their smile, something in your mind that reminds them of your ex, none of those things matter. All of those are simply biological functions. They are the flesh. That is biological function. It is acknowledged. Beautiful person, great smile, reminds me of my ex, my type, my body type, blah, 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 blah. That's it, on time. There's no need to think about it again. There's no need to fantasize. And we have tools to teach men that they don't need to do anything. You have seen her for what she is. The moment you take that image of the woman and then you begin to fantasize without knowing who she is, without curiosity about her humanity or what her story is, you are doing what is called objectification. You are treating the woman like an object because you have pulled her humanity away from her. And my partner is absolutely fine. She can see a guy and she's like, oh my God, that guy's cute. He looks like this person and that person. For her too, that's where it ends. I'm like, yeah, that's your type. I will even point it out and she will point it out. She says, see that, look at that girl. That's your type. I'm like, oh wow, she's really pretty. She really looks good. Like strong cows. You think she works out? Oh, I think she does CrossFit or something. Now, notice that we are seeing them. Sometimes something might be stirred inside. I can't speak for my girl within me, but I check myself. I'm like, no, don't go there. Automatic in a moment. Now, there are those of you who you're walking with your wife Your wife knows it's an attractive woman. She's looking at you to see, and then people make jokes about it and memes, and you're like, no, I'm going to pretend like I don't see her. That's the most fucked up waste of your biology I've ever fucking seen. It leads to suppression. It is horrible. Just allow it, accept it, learn how to train yourself. Most people do not understand the concept of internal control. There's this dude out there, Alex Sharfin, who started something on masculinity. He's well, you know what? I'll talk about it another day, but I'll summarize this. He made a statement: men, and I'm paraphrasing, men, objectification is violence. You need to put it in a container or something like that. And then I challenged him. I talked about what objectification was, and he said no. Objectification is when a man looks at a woman in a way that makes her feel uncomfortable. This is some fucking feminized shit, and I'm going to shoot another video on that. Objectification is it's not when a man looks at a woman in a way that makes her feel uncomfortable. A woman can decide that a man is making her feel uncomfortable at any point. She can decide that, depending on her mood, time of the month. She doesn't like his fucking face. Sometimes my girl just looks at me and she's like, "What you looking at?" I'm like, "Nothing." She's just like, "I just don't like how you're looking at me." It doesn't matter, right? So you cannot make broad judgments like that. Objectification is when you take away the humanity from another human being, when you do not have curiosity about who they are, and in your head you use them as an object for mainly your sexual pleasure. Y'all need to sort this shit out. Let's keep it going. Views on relationship and behaviors, gender and marriage. Traditional Christian theology views human sexuality as complementary with marriage, strictly between a man and a woman. I'm cool with that. Consent. Christian ethics emphasize that sexual acts must honor free will and respect for others, viewing true consent as a form of respecting God's design. That's wonderful. But that's not what most of you Christians do. Y'all are not honoring the free will and having respect for others. Y'all like to be in other people's business. Why? Because it makes you feel good about yourself. You feel good when you tell people that here's the covert fucking way y'all do it. I'll pray for you. You are lost. I'll pray that you come to Jesus, JK. Well, join the fucking club, because people have been saying that for 20 years. From when I was selling books door to door at 21, 22 years old, and these fucking hypocritical pastors. Listen, within 3 months, I knew which pastor was fucking who, which minister was fucking which choir boy, which person was doing this. I knew everything that was happening. I learned firsthand on the field that Christians are just human. So shut the fuck up and keep your I will pray for you if you're not truly praying for me from a compassionate place. If you're praying for me or for anybody else from a place of, I wish deep down that you could be controlled. Why do you have to be so out there? It makes me uncomfortable. The fact that you're so confident about your belief, the fact that it attacks mine, or I feel like it attacks mine, I'm going to be passive aggressive and claim that I will pray for your redemption. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself if you do not have a very clear point to make to me. If it is not going to come from a place of compassion, neither I nor all the clients I work with who are dealing with this need that bullshit from you. If anything, pray for all of us to have the strength to figure this out. Pray for all of us to undo the negative conditioning. Pray for all of us to get past the bullshit of the church, the bullshit of Satan, the bullshit of the world, and the bullshit of our biology, to overcome it and live in this world and find something that will be a conduit to the divine for us. That is what we need. Not trying to manipulate other people and saying, I'll pray for you so that you can become more like me. Why? Because you're so fucking perfect? Dumbass. Sexual expression. Forbidden acts. Actions outside the marital bond, such as premarital sex, extramarital affairs, and often pornography, are considered violations of this divine design. I don't have any issue with being against premarital sex, extramarital affairs, and so on. But the pornography and the premarital sex, this whole thing is about the premarital sex, right? If you do not have a solution for these men who are in their 30s to deal with premarital sex, I'll tell you what I tell them. If you are a man and you are struggling with this, Decide what you're going to do with your partner and go and make your peace with God. Because you cannot apply this fucking cookie cutter template that was designed thousands of years ago to today. Be the man who makes the change. And in case you didn't know, over a period of hundreds of years, it is men in high places, religious men, who made the adjustments to the Word of God. And you are here still being ruled by them. Some of you will be unhappy for the rest of your life because a bunch of dudes sat down 1,000 years ago, and every few hundred years, they're slowly manipulating it. And you're just like, yeah, I'm going to follow it. Go directly to the source. Fuck these guys. Go directly to the source. You and your girl, y'all want to have sex. You had a problem with pornography. She has a trauma. She was sexually abused when she was younger. She's not sure what happened. She's hypersexual as a result of her trauma. We are complicated beings. Go for therapy. Work with coaches. Pray together as a couple. Make your relationship a thing of spiritual growth, and then make your peace and go tell all these other people who give you their own experience, to their own opinions, to go fuck themselves. Make it an experiential thing. I've been with my partner for 17 years. We have outlived many relationships. Year after year after year, I hear people saying, why don't you just put a ring on it? Yeah, da 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 da. And I just say, show me your life. And I look at their life, and their lives are fucking chaos and a fucking mess. I'm like, no, thank you. I do not want your life. I'm quite happy with my partner. Every single year, we renew our commitment to each other. Every single year, we do not take our shit for granted. I'm out of time yelling at you guys. Every single year, we make a decision to date each other again. And in my opinion, that's what works for us. You do what fucking works for you. And I will teach what works for me to my clients, and they can take it or they can leave it. For the most part, it's going to work for most guys. Let's see. All right, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore. I think I've ran my mouth about it. Here is my final message for my brothers who are trying to end their behavior with pornography, for my brothers who are trying to date. Let me make it clear to you, okay? You are not a bad Christian because of your behavior with pornography. You are not a horrible human being because you got on a date with a woman and you desire to have sex with her. You are not doomed to hell because you have had sex with a woman. You are not. But you must make peace with it. And if your church brothers, or the congregation will not help you to make sense of it, then it is your duty through your relationship with Christ. It is your duty to put in the work to resolve this conflict. Because if you do not resolve this conflict, it will lead you back to pornography. It absolutely will. I put my life on it. If you have struggled with pornography and you do not resolve this Christian issue of this is sin, you will take it into your marriage. You will just not tell anybody. Do not trust. Do not, I tell you, trust these married men who are Christian men who have not had any sort of relationship prior to this. You do not know their history. They haven't told you about it. They just tell you like, oh, my relationship is perfect now. I and my wife have great sex. It's always been great. And we do it. It is not possible. All relationships have ups and downs. Some of them may not have pornography, may not watch pornography, but they've had lustful thoughts. It is so easy for them to pretend like they never have. Many of them are virtue signaling. They will virtue signal. They have been lying about this. They just say it because they want to appear to be good Christians. Do not listen to these men. Do not even listen to me. Listen to what I have to say. But if you feel it's bullshit, assume bullshit. But there's one thing that I will say is true. You are the best expert at yourself. You are the best expert at yourself. You must learn how to pick your own experience and learn from your experience. At the end of the day, what we do at Porn Reboot, for those of you who might have been confused by all the different places I went with this, is that we teach you how to be the expert at yourself. You are guided with systems. I am simply a facilitator. I will tell you the truth as I see it. You do not have to agree with me. We have many men who have completed our program and they have chosen to not have sex. They have chosen to control their sexual behavior, but they've also chosen to accelerate the timeline with which they find a partner. And they learn how to do that within our dating reboot program. We have other men who realized that they were not going to get married anytime soon. They did not have the resources, nor were they healed enough to actually be in a committed relationship. But they also realized that sexual intimacy was something important to them. And so they started having sex. Yes, Christian men, they started having premarital sex, with the prerequisite being emotional intimacy and being ethical, honest, and open with the person they were with. That way, they did not carry guilt. They also knew at the end of the day that they were going to be men who were in a committed relationship and they were working through this and making peace with themselves. I do not judge any man. You decide on your own. Okay? I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. And if you watch this all the way till the end, this month I'm giving anybody who's interested, if you're preferably you're a single man who's trying to work on his relationship, religious or otherwise, access to every single workshop that I've ever created or any of our coaches have created when it comes to your dating reboot. I'm going to leave a link to it in the comment section below this. I recommend you check it out. You can find out what is there for you. There's also a package if you want to work with me for at least a month. Just go like, JK, I'd love to sit into your sessions for 4 sessions, 4 1 hour sessions with you. I'd like to sit down and watch you in a group, and I'd love to watch you coach Christian men, non Christian men, married men, separated and divorced men. And I'd love to see how you do this thing of showing men that they are experts at themselves and empowering them to find the answers for themselves in their own relationships. Remember, the values that I stand for are being able to critically think, aiming for happiness in your life, autonomy, that means being self governing, and free will, not having anybody else control you or the direction in which you go. If you can have, if you resonate with these 4 values, you're probably going to do great in our program and learn something from it. I appreciate you guys. I'm JK, your brother in the struggle.